Hey everybody, I'm Carrie, Self-Carrie. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. I am an astrological guide, an empowerment astrologer, and a holistic life coach. Now, what does that mean? How do all those things go together? That means that I am an astrologer. I take what's in your chart and I interpret it for you, and I read all the symbols and I do all the things. But on top of that, I also give you practical, strategic guidance, tips and tricks and ways that you can use what we find in your chart to benefit your life. So what you'll find on this channel is astrology, information about self-care, holistic self-care, and anything else that goes along with living a beautiful, holistic life aligned with the planet. That's what you'll find here. And in this video is called Saturn in Aquarius, coming together to defeat a common enemy. Now, if you know a little bit about astrology, you'll also know that there's a lot going on there. So whenever I do readings or with people, I also give them an astrology lesson as well. And so that's what you'll find here. This is absolutely a video for a beginner. So before we get into it though, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel and make sure you hit the bell to alert you whenever I have a new video that's been uploaded. I'd love to see you here often, and let's get to it. All right, I got a bunch of notes for you here, all right? So I do astrology readings, I do astrological guidance sessions, I also do online workshops. If you are interested in attending any of those, please go to my website. You can find that in the information space below. You can also follow me here on YouTube, but also follow me on Instagram or like my page on Facebook. You can also join my mailing list and get lots of up-to-date information on a weekly basis through my newsletter there. You can also find that information in the space below. So let's get into it. What is Saturn in Aquarius? So anytime you hear that in astrology, what it means is, like, say Mercury is in Pisces or Venus is in Capricorn. All that means is that a certain energy of the certain planet has merged with the energy of a zodiac sign. Okay, and so what we'll be experiencing is this amalgamation of both. All right, so it's like a mathematical equation. If we were to break down Saturn in Aquarius, what does that mean? Saturn in Aquarius is coming in, or came in, on March 21st, and it will be with us until July 1st, which means we'll be experiencing this merging of the Saturn energy with the Aquarius energy for until about July 1st, okay? I'm recording this today in March 2020, in the middle of our coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. So you have an understanding of why Saturn has just moved into Aquarius. So what is Saturn and what is Aquarius? I like to think of Saturn as the stern teacher, the stern dad, actually. I always think of like, it's like a dad that, not the dad that like takes you to the playground and plays with you and hangs out with your friends, like the cool dad. It's like the dad that like gives you challenges and obstacles so that you will survive, so that you will mature, so that you will learn how to do your own laundry and cook your own food and manage your own bank account and be able to survive in the world until ultimately, if you survive, you will leave a legacy. The dad that wants you to continue, basically, that loves you enough to want you to continue. That's the Saturn energy. And we often give Saturn a bad rap because we're like, oh, Saturn's coming, everything's gonna suck. And it is gonna suck, right? But it's gonna suck because Saturn wants you to survive. The Saturn energy, I often think of it like a teacher. You know, I have a friend of mine who, if you look at the Saturn symbol on an astrological chart, it looks kind of like a chair. My friend was like, doesn't it look like a chair? And I'm like, it does look like a chair. And the chair kind of represents the chair in a classroom. And if you're having to look towards a teacher, you don't get to look to the side. You don't get to play with your friends. You got to sit there for 45 minutes or 3 hours or however long the lecture is, okay? Depending on if you're high school or you're in university. You got to sit there and you got to take in the information for however long you're supposed to stay there. Saturn represents school. Whenever I talk to my clients, I'm like, yeah, Saturn is basically just school. When you're in school for something, when you place yourself in school for something, you're basically saying, everything in my life is going to slow down so I can learn this thing, so I can focus on this thing. And when we have a Saturn transit, that's exactly what happens. We don't have as much money, right? Because all our money is going to tuition or it's going to books. We don't go out as much with our friends because we ain't got no money. But also, like, we don't have the time to go out with our friends. It feels like everything slows down so that we can focus on this one thing, and it's just like kind of like trudging through mud. But at the end of it, at the end of that transit, we get a degree. We evolve to the next class. We get to move on. And that's what a Saturn transit is for. Now, a Saturn transit is usually roughly about 2.5 years, but sometimes we get these previews, and that's what we're experiencing right now. On March 21st, Saturn moved from the sign of Capricorn into the sign of Aquarius, and it will be with us until July 1st. Now, let's talk about Aquarius, because we're merging this great teacher energy, this, this like stern father wants us to grow up and become adults energy with the sign of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius energy is very different. We're basically going from Saturn, which is an earth energy, to Aquarius, which is an air energy. And Aquarius means the future. Aquarius means the collective. Aquarius means the liberator, the freedom fighter, the revolutionary, the Che Guevara. Like, that is Aquarius. These are our social activists. These are the people who are for the people, but not necessarily of the people. They are the people that, the thinkers, the innovators, our Thomas Edisons, our Charles Darwins, our Rosa Parks, okay? And if you know an Aquarius, they have that kind of energy about them. Sometimes they come up with these most outlandish ideas because they have this very prophetic ability about them. They're future-minded, okay? So if we're merging the great teacher energy with this Aquarius energy, what we're finding is we are about to learn a lesson about how to be liberated, how to come together as a collective, how to come together to defeat a common enemy. Now, who is that enemy? Okay. What's interesting is that up until now, we each probably had an idea of who the enemy was, right? The enemy is whoever is the opposite gender. The enemy is whoever is another race that I don't like, right? The enemy is a different political party. The enemy is a person with a different socioeconomic status. The enemy is an immigrant, okay? It's like this, we all had our ideas of who the enemy was, right? But now that we have literally been brought together as a collective, we have to look around and see, like, wait a minute, who's the enemy that's like all of us, the common denominator, the enemy to all of us? Saturn energy also represents constriction, compression. And that's exactly what we're feeling right now, as we've all been self-quarantined into our homes, being constricted from being able to engage with the collective. I'm speaking to you right now through a screen, and that's because you are part of my collective, but I can't get to you, right? This is the Saturn constricting energy that's constricting the collective, that Aquarius energy. And in each time that Saturn has been paired with Aquarius throughout history, something major has happened in terms of societal justice, civil unrest, or the people rising up to change the status quo. The other times that Saturn has been in Aquarius throughout history, Saturn was in Aquarius when Dr. King gave his famous speech, his famous I Have a Dream speech. Saturn was in Aquarius when the negotiations to attend or to end apartheid in South Africa were going on. Saturn was in Aquarius during the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Saturn was in Aquarius at these very pertinent times in history where we saw a revolution. And so as astrologers, we're always studying when these certain energies or certain planets will be together again, so we can kind of predict the possibilities of what may occur again, because those two planets, those energies have merged once again. So we can expect that over the next 3 months. Because this is 3 months and a Saturn transit is usually about 2.5 years, we're getting what I call a preview. And this is, I actually call it like a quantum leap. Like we are, because Aquarius represents the future and the people in the future and the ideas of the future, it's almost like we had to slow down. Saturn energy, we had to slow down, get off the hamster wheel so that we could take a look around and see what structures were not working. And we had to take this quantum leap to become the people that we're going to need to be in the future. So it's like we weren't there yet, and it's almost like the planet was like, I need you to catch up to where I'm gonna need you to be for you to be able to evolve as a collective. So everything had to slow down, or rather there had to be a great pause, okay, where we had to get off the hamster wheel and go, wait a minute, everyone else is here, we're all in this together, okay? Or we're not all in this together, and that's something that we'll have to confront over the next 3 months. So what does this mean that we'll experience? Over the next 3 months, we'll experience a lot of constriction as a collective. We'll start to see how a lot of constrictions have been in place, a lot of restrictions that we didn't even realize we were living with. We'll go, oh, that was there? Like my bank has some fine print that I didn't know about, or my government can do that and they don't have to ask me. Like little things like that. Anything that has to do with our structures, our finances, our businesses, our religions, our universities, anything that has to do with like societal traditions, structures, things like that, institutions. That's what we're going to see a lot of constriction about. We're also going to see that our governing systems simply do not work anymore, and we're going to have to transform them into something new. And this is the period, this 3-month period, where we're going to recognize, hey, this is not working for most of us, and it's not working for me anymore, okay? We are also going to see a lot of divisiveness, a lot of anger, a lot of violence too, amongst people as we start to wake up and realize like, hey, we're not actually each other's enemy. We have a greater enemy here. We will start to see a lot of people act out and react in ways, because that's what happens when we wake up. Like little babies wake up from their cribs. They're not happy about it. Okay. And we're not going to be happy about it either, having to wake up from the dream that we've been pursuing this whole time. Maybe a dream that's been running us ragged, but it's still a dream. Okay. Now we also, hold on a second. One of the things I wanted to get across here is that we've always thought this, enemy that we had, each have an idea who the enemy was. We always thought the enemy was out there, or the threat was out there. It's like, oh, that's in another country, that's in another system, that's them over there. That can't touch us over here. So it's over there, and so I don't have to deal with it. Well, now the threat has come to us. We can no longer be complacent. The real threat is our governing structures, and we have to start looking at them and making changes in them and stepping into them and embodying them and making sure they work for everybody and even work for us. Okay. We are going through a time of deep transformation right now. That's what this little 3-month quantum leap is all about. We need to change. It's like we didn't want to change. We kept saying, I'm gonna put that off until I got some time, or I got some more money, then I'm gonna change. And the universe said, nah, you gonna change now, And so that's basically what's happening. We just can't be complacent anymore. So this is a 3-month preview. Everything had to slow down in order for us to become the people that we needed to be to evolve to the next level as a collective. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we were waiting for to step up and change something and do something and speak up and make a difference. We've been waiting for other people to do it. We've been sitting there, sitting back, eating chips, just waiting for somebody else to step up. No, it's us. There's too much to do. So grab a broom, folks. There's just too much to do. So here's the one thing I want to leave you with. The thing that really has to change is our understanding and our idea of money, power and power over, meaning money is way too much of a priority. power is too much of a priority, and power over, meaning power over something else, a hierarchy or power over someone else, is way too much of a priority for us. Who would we be as a society without those things? You know, how much better would we be? We're about to find out. So we are discovering we don't need those things anymore. What we actually need to do is to learn how to come together as a collective and support each other in the survival of our species, not be divided, but like even somebody that's over there is part of my species, is part of my humankind, and we have to come together as a collective. Okay. So that is Saturn in Aquarius, coming together to defeat a common enemy. And it's going to be a really interesting ride over these next 3 months. So if you are interested in learning more about how this global pandemic or this global energies will be affecting your personal chart, which areas of your personal life will be affected, we can check that out. We can look on your natal chart. Just hit me up and let's do an astrology reading together, or sign up for one of my online workshops or one of my astrological guidance session packages. I'd be happy to work with you. And in the meantime, take care.